You're here, I'm here, we're here. So it's another episode of Moments in Time. I'm your girl. You already know how it is. It's Bianca Cele Flatella, Hennessy, Miss Say the Whole Thing like a Tribe Called Quest. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Monate. What's up?
Yo, what's up? Kanjani namhlanje?
Yazi muhle.
Number
Ngi-relevant,
one. I'm
ngi-intelligent, in time. How are you?
in time. I know that true.
That was
Yeah,
shit.
ngicela ifiva nyana but ke I know umuntu uzoba grand most otherwise iviki libhizi kakhulu.
That's good. That's good. Today, sihleli nobani namhlanje. Sihleli no Mr. Thulani Bhengu, Mr. Mepho himself.
Oh, yeah.
Sawubona bhuti
Oh, yeah.
kunjani?
It's got a judge.
Siyaphila, siyajabula mukhona. Sikhona sonke so 3 kuzoba mnandi guys. We're going to have some great conversations about music, about whatever you can think about nje ehambisana nomculo. Cause sobe simbuza some nice questions. Angithi read.
Yeah, no, I'm right.
That's your
Let's
bit caught
talk.
off. You're
Let's
like, oh.
talk. Let's start. Okay, right.
So ubani uMepho?
Mepho is Takazelo Sakapeng.
Oh, Ngcolosi.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
that's
Okay.
where Mepho comes from. Omkhulu la Mepho.
Oh, okay. Okay. So like usuka kuphi? La uzalelwe khona, wafunda khona. Njengamanje ubased kiphi?
Mina wase Gamalakhe. I was born there, Gamalakhe. Ngifunde Gamalakhe zonke ikole except commercial. Ngafunda khona. So ke manje ngi-based market.
Market.
That's where I stay. But ngwala.
No. Okay. Born and bred.
Ngwala.
So kuzo zonke ithakazelo zakaBhengu wathi Mepho. Why Mepho specifically? Yiphi le ndawo eyayithinta eyathi that's the one.
Hayi ngaphiwa phela isibongo awuzithatheli uyasiphiwa ngasiphiwa umkhulu nje athi uMepho ke wena
Nazo.
so ke suthi ngasithatha lapho ukuthi hayi awuphiwa ikhehle so that's where uMepho comes from.
No, ngiyakuzwa. Ingathi leli khehla likhona namhlanje ingathi sihleli nalo.
Uyalizwa
Ngiyalizwa.
Spirit.
Ngiyadonsa.
alivayithwanga ikhehle.
Ngiyadonsa. So in your early years as a youth, la South Coast ngiyeza ukuthi ukhulele Gamalakhe uzalule khona, funde khona. Yini nje wayibona South Coast ilekha and then what did you do about that?
I am young ngizalelwe la nje uma ngishilo. I think vese phela noma kuthiwa khonto ezilekhaya we can always work together which is lunga I think in any township or
Yeah.
That's true.
anyway fact setshenzwe before indawo uzuthi isiyinto yabo so I think nje into elekhaya for now ukuthi sihlanganene we need to meet njenge youth kakhulukazi sihlanganene sixoxe ngalamaphupho different dreams and see ukuthi singasizana kanjani ngoba I think nje mina ngibe nalo nhlanhla ukuthi as much as ngafunda la kufundwa khona but I came back home so ke sa right ke ekhaya but nje sidinga into njengale sihlale phansi and we talk we discuss we brainstorm senze zonke izinto so I think that's what is lacking.
Yeah, togetherness.
Yeah, we need
Ukuhlangana
that. We need a lot of
komphakathi.
that.
So i-platform le ifunakalayo kahle kahle ukuthi. Okay, nayi i-platform. Seyikunikezile in time. Khona izingane lapha nezilalele, khona ababukele. Ungathini kubona kulabantu abanama beef no chicken? Ingane
No
njalo
muffin.
sithi angizwani noMepho mina. Yangisebenza noMepho. uMepho ucabanga ukuthi no right. Mina igrand ngale craft yami and I know it uthi izospana namajita ama-3 ekhoneni ngizorelease i-EP yami yonke lonto le. Uthini ngalabantu abanje?
Hayi labo ngeke baye ndawo. Doesn't work
Angeke
like that.
banyakaze,
Ngeke
yes.
banyakaze.
Ngeke
Njengoba ngisho nje
banyakaze.
kufanele sizwane because your skills combined with mines and combined with hers together we can go upways where obviously where everyone needs to go to. Mabe kukhona umuntu othena usebenze khona alone there is no craft oyenza alone.
Very true.
There is no craft. It can't be. So I think my advice would be, if ubona ukuthi kune craft, let us see the craft, then we'll decide. Ukuthi mhlambe nje uthi the craft yakhe right, mhlambe right ngoba uwedwa. Let us judge ukuthi craft yakho si test. Bakhona abantu abane skill ukutest ama craft, then we take it from there. I
Yeah.
would say nje they must come up from their corners. Sihlaleni phansi njengoba ngisho nje si check icraft, si dice nike my dice.
Khuluma ngama skill and nokuthi umuntu akakwazi ukwenza into eyedwa. Qinisile no one's an island and everything we do you never create out of a vacuum most.
Yeah.
You're recreating all the time. So I agree with what you were saying. With ama skill, I know that you're a lover of music, so much so that even though you have your everyday working job and all of that, so that's just a means for you to fund the music. So what are your skills? You know, Itanda, what moves you, the music?
Before we even get to the scales, can you just reverse back to where it started, where the whole love for the music?
Because I'm getting there. Like, I'd like to know his scale so that we can go back to, oh, okay, so this is what you love doing. Where did we begin with that? Is that okay, Chris? Is that all right?
That's cool. That's cool. Let's do it like that.
I think your music, it's okay. I think my belief is that if you can have two things. You can have a career, and then you can also have something that you're passionate about. I think a career, obviously, it's something that you have to do. You have to wake up in the morning and go and work. That's fine, and everybody does that.
It helps with discipline as well.
Yeah, it's maybe you like the career, it's all right. But and I know in the majority of people I know they don't even like their careers, you know. So, but music corner, it's passion to me. It's something I love. I honestly love music, you know. So, I think that's where it all began. When the career went down, went deep, then that's where I founded the music, because obviously you need to break the stress, you need to balance it off. You can't take whatever happens in the career on the day, take it at home or take it somewhere else. So you have to have a break, so that you close the career, then you start something else. I think that's what most people are missing with this career all the way. So mine, fortunately,
of sorts.
I can break. So if I can break, which means I won't have stress.
Yes.
Whatever happens during the day, it's fine. In the
You
afternoon,
need to stress,
music.
Yeah, music. Wow.
Music.
Yeah.
So that's all it started 7 years ago. Then I did something about it. If you know what I mean. I started doing some lessons. Meeting guys about music, art, understanding what the guys are doing. Then the love went bigger and bigger. So that's where it's all started. It started through the career. So I founded the passion through the career, because the career funds the music. Because the problem music in South Africa is that it doesn't pay. You know, music don't pay. So that's where it started.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. So, Ngculo was it was part of your journey, essentially. Because I imagine, it's not something you just started listening to recently and then you're like, oh, imnandi le nto. It's been part of your life. And then with whatever job you were doing, growing up, entering the working world and all of that, so you were just being led to where you are right now. With Ngculo, njengoba ususho ukuthi that's what you do, that's what you love, it's your passion. So you share that, obviously, and you heal people through it. How do you do that?
I think umehluko, we need to first understand ukuthi music kukhona artists, as you know, and then kukhona musicians. So I decided to go with route yama musicians. So I obviously learn music. I learned an instrument. I learned to write the music. I learned to play the music. You know.
Okay.
And when we say music, we need to be clear, because all when you make music, you must just open a radio and listen.
Yeah.
Listening, it's fine, but if you love it, you know what you're listening to. You know the instrument behind it. You know the effort
The composition
it took for
and
them to
everything.
make the music. You know the work that goes behind the music.
Yes.
The team that goes behind the music. You know the composition.
Hey, you
team.
nepheshi.
Yeah.
This is a story.
Hey.
I gone there.
Yes.
I'm there.
Yes.
I'm learning, but I love the space.
Oh no,
Okay.
we love having you here. We
I
love
love
it.
the space.
So ngifuna ukuchecka la map. So uyawenza ku music. Eyiphi lento le othi within the music la ngaphakathi oyithandayo kakhulu, beside kuma kwi mic and sing, but khona le the core business oyithanda kakhulu lapha ngaphakathi, why yona futhi?
I think music, if iswenza kahle, like the jazz setup has been our last of last week, is that it addresses our culture, our origin. Because remember, there's only one thing that has been invented by us. You know, as when I say us, I mean blacks. It's jazz music. In the 18th centuries, black people founded the jazz music. It's the only thing which was discovered by us. You know, so I think if you listen to someone singing, then you can tell a lot about who they are.
Yes.
You know, where they come from, because when they write, they can only write about what they know, where they come from, who they are. You can even sense, hello, una special powers. You can see.
Yes.
You know, you can see through music when they sing. Music, it's bigger than that. You know, you can get a culture, you can get a religion, you can get tradition through music. You know, jazz, it's interpretation of exactly that. So, mina, passion through music, we can heal.
Yes.
We can heal a lot of people through music. You know, I can tell you, you can heal abantu because we are born to, okay, especially jazz. Jazz is an interpretation of our origin.
Yeah.
You know, and you can go even deeper. So if you know who you are, then it's easy to focus where you want to go. So I think, I mean, I'll end there, but not just record music and play it for people, but analyze with, okay, how do I interpret this, you know, selfishly, yeah, so that we can focus. We need to focus. We're not focused.
So as far as jazz goes, who would you say you listen to? I know about Miles Davis. Who's that other guy? It's Miles Davis and I forgot his name. But they've been
wish I
said
could
to
help
give
you.
the best live performances. I think they've only ever had one album together, but they toured the world, and that album, like, they say you haven't been to a music show until you've been to a Miles Davis, and I forgot the second guy's name. But who do you listen to as far as jazz goes, or how far back do you listen?
Yeah, okay. I think Davis is one of them, obviously. But Nakona, he was taught by black guys. Because that's exactly what we're trying to say, is that he was not supposed to be a white playing jazz. But he was fortunate because he met black guys that were not exposed. He was exposed financially,
Yeah.
you know, which is addresses the same
Yes.
questions. The guys, he had money. He had money to buy a piano. He had money to take guys to certain jazz setup. Then so then he was known because he had financial power. But you have abantu abanjengo the Hathaways, you know, family, the Lala Hathaways, they the jazz guys, you know, the Greco reporters. Those are the 21st century people about the jazz, man. So I mean, I don't want to go too much back with jazz, but I go back so that I can sort of learn with kunama jazz standards. You know, you get the jazz guys, they powerful jazz. You know, they here now.
Yes.
You know, yeah, but I do go back because I'm a standard jazz, so you just follow them. But yeah, gilalela nje jazz enjalo and a little bit of vocal also. That's why I'm mentioning all Lala Hathaway or Greco Reporter.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
love
my
Gregory
jazz.
Porter. That Hey Laura, It's Me. I think that's how I got introduced to him. Yeah, the writing there, it's so impeccable, like, and so effortless. It feels like, hey Laura, it's me. Sorry to ring your doorbell so late, but something's been bothering me. Utin, go ahead and lie to me and I'll believe. But there's a slide about it, the rivers of your love flow uphill to me.
The writing.
That's
Yo.
beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. It's poetic. Ngiyayithanda into ehambisana lyricism. I'm a lyricist myself. So with writing and all of that, into zami lezo, ngiyakuzwa, i-passion yakho ngiyayizwa, man. Even in how you talk. Like, am I the only one in this room who can feel him? But is jazz, besides jazz, is there any other music genre that influences you when you're composing or when you're putting together a song? Outside of jazz?
There's only one genre that I never had time to listen to. It's reggae.
Oh.
I love people that love reggae.
Yeah.
But I just listen to all. Remember, I'm talking about the music, the behind.
Yeah.
So I can listen to gospel easy. You know, there's new guys now that came through. They interpret differently. You know, or Dr. Tumi, they're doing it differently. You know,
Yeah.
You know, that Zion type of
Yes.
gospel. There's different.
We're
You can put
recreating
jazz to gospel as well. You know, because jazz, before some keys seem to be evil.
Yeah.
Basho njalo, so those sharp chords. But you know, I listen to all genres of music.
And may I say, salt is going to be added within, like, that list.
I was about to say, like, this is a flashback to our conversation as the In.Tym with gospel song. What makes a gospel song? And we were talking about how there's a very specific way that we understand gospel music is supposed to sound, but what if the message is the actual purpose? Lyrics.
You know that, like, when they talk of David in the Bible, David would play a harp and not say a word. and God would be touched. So why couldn't jazz be interpreted as like a gospel music?
Exactly.
Because sometimes I thought it was like it's like this how this guy poured his heart into praising me with this. This is what works.
Yeah, flashback to Spilele's article. You can find it on N-Time's website. She was
Plug.
talking about umlilo and how such guys umlilo. We danced, we had fun, we drank abanye bethu, but ukhuluma uNkulunkulu wakhe. And you're right, man. This is all a message, and we're all healing each other. Kule nto siyenzayo. Mbo?
So ama projects osokuwenze during uqalile up until now AP project othi yabona le wasebenza la even isikhatha sendlini sasesincane AP lo projects le which I'm inspired by this project.
I think, okay, maybe mhlambe ke ngingasasho amagama. You say, you know, today. but yeah, no, there's not much project engibe involved one abe successful. It's only maybe one or two, you know, because in the one when I prefer working local up. I strongly know, not necessarily believe, I strongly know with South Coast, it's the gold of everything, by the way.
Yeah, we have so many talents.
Of everything. So an intangible becomes protected. So I don't want to go funama artist, I want to go Joburg, go fun artist, I want to go Tepe. I just want to hear la ekhaya. Sibakombisa ukuthi, you know, 1 or 2 or 3 a year. It will be big. So I'm selfish with who do I work with.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not about the number of people I've worked with. I'm sure about you about
I know there's rumors that you went as far as a Metro Award, but was it a Metro? Or
yeah,
Metro.
Yes, it was a Metro Award.
So, yeah, Metro in 6 months. After my fukada, I win another delete.
Okay.
No shade, no shade.
So ngicanti oqala South Coast if I'm not mistaken okwawina Metro.
Yes.
Like South Coast.
Yes.
Okay. The time ubizwa qala kuthiwa you are nominated kuma Metro. If feeling yanje ne feeling ke manje sokuthiwa ke uwinile ke naye yakho le award.
Tata.
No, I was behind the scenes.
Okay.
The artist won. I'm a Metro. If feeling ukumbona lapha stage and the feeling was with people at home watching someone they know they can touch. You know, it's very important. It's overwhelming. You know, you just get complete goosebumps. You just get so special on that day. You know, so that's the feeling I had. So I don't know about the artist because he's the one that sings. We're not cool, but I'm sure he was too excited.
That is awesome.
Yeah, that walk. Yeah, no,
even whatever email, if it's an email, however they communicate with the artist, it's him, knowing the amount of work you put in, the intricate detail. Guys, seriously, we've done it. And I'd like that for you, South Coast. And I think we've already started though, because what you think?
Yeah, we've been started.
We've been started. We've been elevating each other, been doing it.
So, Mepho, I think manje kukhona a musician, that is you, kube khona uMepho. Ukuhlukanisa kanjani the two? Because ekhaya mos asihlala nomculi, sikahlala nomculi, but khona le nto le uthi abashana yabo bafuna ukubona umalume yonke lonto le ukubalansisa kanjani even your friends. Yabo. So ukuhlukanisa kanjani ukuthi okay, yeah manje ngiyosipana, ngiyabuya ngisekhaya, ngidla amachita ami yabo.
Yeah, which alter ego controls which part of your life?
I think where it started is I was very fortunate as much as in a family, but I married a friend. You know what I mean? So if someone is your friend, anything is possible.
Yeah.
So I need to go and buy a mic 100.
Yes.
You know what I mean? With ish. The mic le mic.
Yeah.
You know, till us value mic. So the family themselves understand, you know, ito music. Mini present, I mean, it gets so boring today because I know it's kekelo music, you know. So present to get tattoo, tattoo, music. So it's even my kids are doing music. You know, they're taking music lessons. I'm forcing them. They will thank me
They will
later.
Later.
You know, yeah. So, go easy to mix the two because there's a into abayithandayo nabo but hey sikurecordela into ukuthi bungekho so it's one thing abawusebenzisa bona but they respect ukuthi mina it's my passion.
That's beautiful.
Awesome.
Oh wow. So nje umculo uyakulandela noma ikuphi la uya khona. Usekhaya khona umculo, usebenzisa khona umculo.
Yeah,
Ungaphandle
the
khona
office
umculo.
liyazi umculo.
So,
What drove you to the point that you felt the need to open a studio? And who do you work with within the studio? Because I remember, like, I think it was 3-4 years ago when it was still being worked on. I think it's in Southport, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So, like, what drove you to that point that you were like, okay, I want to do this full time and just see this thing being created live? And actually, I have another question after that. Like, let's take
No,
care
it's
of
fine.
this
I've
one.
got all the time. I think it challenge is nayo la ama facilities yabo
yeah.
ukuthi if you have a facility then at least there's a step number one because we've realized ukuthi when we went out for recordings we need to go out to Tegwin or we need to go out to Johannesburg and then the problem is if you go to Johannesburg is studio you know khona ba record on a high level studios record on lower level studios. So rather than we have our own studio, so that even if when you donate, because the problem when we did donate, we were donating cash. So in other words, we're booking studio time. We're booking the engineer. We're booking the producer. But rather we donate in a form of an asset. With okay, artist, it's fine. I'm going to give you studio time. That's money. There's no money transaction. I'm going to give you studio time. Okay. So that's where Into music started. When we did a project, No Happy, so we went to Tegwin Sofuni to then we decided, no, let's have our own studio, SC private. So that's how the studio was born.
I think like when it comes to working studios, also comfortability plays a factor because you can go into a big studio if you aren't really and there can be people there for support and people take that lightly because I recall there was this one time we went to a studio, I won't mention the producer's name, you remember? I went to a couple of studios and they had worked with big people. I can mention who they worked with. They had worked with Rebecca Malo, they had worked with Blacksmith Mambazo, but when we listened to the product, it was better when we did it ourselves at home. Because there was this little thing, it's intimidating to talk to hey, kanje, and uzela knowledge and but that does not apply to the sound that you are trying to put out. So you like, hey, what do I do? Like, I take it as is, it's already been paid, and you go home, you're dissatisfied because there wasn't that that access to them to sort of say, hey, ngicela uyenze kanje. Athi, no, ubani kanje.
They don't listen.
Abe happy ngayo yabo. Because I recall living in Ozark at this one point. I think when they did the first album with Native, they did it in Joburg, then they came back by Lalelo to the mixing, the masters were not on. Because most Suga Futhi from a small town, but Tatsangan with Awaz Lut.
Oh, yeah.
She said, you know, 1 2 1 2, let's deal with the serious people. So it's actually great to have something like this closer to home. Yeah. Oh, the second question was, what do you prefer, being in studio or being at a live show?
Both.
The creation or the...
I was going to
Both.
say yes.
You
That was
can
my
still
answer.
do live there. You know, I think that's how the studio is designed. The same setup you had the last time, we can just do it live.
Yeah.
And we record live. And, you know, instead of
That's
everything
literally
is
the
being
vibe.
computerized, then, you know, when you talk about the hub, let's play it live. Let's get a live person that plays hub. Because studio set is not necessarily for artists only, but it's also for composition. Because we already have a pre-booking your local move-ins, so they will come there and do the composition, which means you must have an ensemble, a small orchestra, like 4 violinists, you know, the celloists. You start using instruments that are not known,
Yes.
you know, the passoni is the instrument that are not known. So I think both you capture the same and capture the same live. It has to be live. So I love both. I mean, I'm saying studio obviously, but studio there's kind of that quality, but I like live and live studio
Okay.
recording.
My least favorite part about being in the studio is the mixing process. It's so tedious.
Yeah.
And the retakes are also very tedious sometimes because you feel like this is the one, then your producer's like, one more. And it's like
Yeah.
3 a.m. and you've done it 500 times.
Yeah, that's a problem. Usungasayifuni wena iculo lakho.
Nama lyrics uthi uyawacula uthi, I don't even feel this anymore. But sibhuka kanjani ke studio? I heard you said you've already booked. If somebody is watching and they want to book and come to Southport to the studio, how can they get a hold of you? What is the process? What are your available days?
Yeah, I think one will do an official launch.
Okay.
The date to be announced because we are in partnership with Yamaha. So everything is Yamaha branded. So we hope, promised,
Congrats.
Uti Yamaha will join us from Japan Bazoi launch because they did a pre-assessment. It's now number 2 in the Southern Hemisphere, which we're going to be challenging
Yo.
the idols.
Yeah.
Or Randall, they will
Aye.
know. Also Randall, you know.
Yes,
We're going to
yes.
be challenging them in terms
That's
of the
amazing.
quality of sound. So everything is there now. The equipment is there, the structure is done. So we just need to Yamaha to decommission the whole thing, basic sensor treatment. I think by September-ish to October, we'll obviously be invited to
That's-
see launch. The launch needs to be done.
That's what's up.
We are within.
Then we take it from there. But again, obviously, we'll market the normal way.
Yeah.
You know, you on this group, you can log in here. These are our login details. But let's do the launch first. Then we take it from there. I hope it works.
It will.
Yeah, I hope it
It
works.
will. We have to speak
I
it.
hope it works.
As healers with our music, we have to speak. You say kuluma, we culminate that energy. Somebody said something, would say, if you practice gratitude, that energy that you culminate in your body, it draws all your luck towards you. It opens your blessings. So claim it. Siyenze yile,
Yeah.
inswempu, within, irrelevant.
Ah, sabo.
Ngifuna ukuchecka lana ke last on my side. Esikoleni, ema high school, kune subject ekuthiwa creative arts, combine 4 art forms: music, dance, drama, and visual arts. Particularly umculo ema high school recently akusafocuswa kakhulu kwinto zaka-art. Sekufocusa kwi-academics. Kube khona ingane othola ukuthi avicula mayiwasha amabhodi lapha kubo noma
We had a similar
especially
conversation.
the generation esikuyona. Eyiphi message ongayipha bona lezi ngane lezi uthola ukuthi ziyavaleleka esikoleni enkonzweni uma othalente kwabadala abashadile kuyibona abawishiphayo.
Yes.
Abana space bona as young people ukuthi okay ifuna ikhono lami libonakala mhlawumbe esontweni libonakala noma esikoleni kwi-assemble ucula grade 12 or yena wenza grade 10 wenza grade 9 akarecognizeki. Eyiphi message ongayidlulisa?
Hey, we need to bring back that curriculum as Colin. That curriculum was there. You know, when we grew up, the art, not necessarily music only. We need to bring the complete art back to the schools. Kunama subject really which you don't need. I personally go to schools currently. Yes, Colin, go preach out in that. But no, let's invest in art. I can only come to school and invest in those arts. If not art, I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it. So I think in Jobusho, then exposure would be there. Not necessarily Lababakula Pela. There are kids, local kids, abenza animation, cartoons. You know how big that is. I don't even want to call it industry because South Africa is not even an industry in anything. We are just 0.01% of everything. So I think we need to go back and start fighting, slowly fighting, bring back these things. It's so big. Your question is so broad because it has to go back with curriculum. Let's call it for when. Because if you win it, the other subject will fall into place.
That's true.
Yeah, so I think my comment to your question is no, it has to go back to what it was. The curriculum involving art. Art, early, at an early age,
Yes.
with the best paid graphics, best this, best sound, best soul, best producer, so that the whole team, So it has to go back to school.
Yeah, you have to get them with that curiosity. Because with that curiosity, calling creativity, You want to ask questions, you want to explore. How many ideas do you think of in a day, Mungi? How many? How many? I can't even imagine. Ungeke studio, when I put Mepho, what do you think of? How many like sounds do you hear in your mind? Nabantu, we spoke earlier about sumuntu wamuzi, humming. And I can't imagine hearing that on a daily basis because hearing someone spitting bars randomly erenki sithi siyothenga amagwinya like uthini kumuntu ongaziboni, what do you say to someone ongaziboni really, like what do you actually say, what would you say? Because
I have no idea what to say at this point. But you know what? Like I feel like it's very tricky trying to balance passion and hustle for a lot of people, because they get stuck in the passion part and they forget that there are other things that you need to do to make it all come together and work out nice. So hey, and we come across that like all the time, like as young artists, as young media practitioners, which is why I feel like it's great that we can come together like this and do these sort of initiatives, because wonke umuntu uhleli ne-skill sakhe
Yeah.
ekuqaleni. So if we're coming together and we're pushing to sort of amplifies all that. So like I know I've got melodies in my head like all the time, but right now because it needs for the corporate side to come in when you're trying to put together these things, you sort of like, yeah, about the artist has to sit aside up until that comes together well, and yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I feel that there's a spirit that's trying to move here.
You're feeling a lot of
Because
spirits.
every time we speak about music, we
Yeah.
get carried away and then
Yeah.
we do this and that and that. But yabo masesikhuluma nge-skill. When we piano lo ifundayo right now, what are you planning to do with that skill specifically? Because ngiyazi uyayithanda piano and that you're learning it out of a place of love, but what are you trying to do? Where's your next journey leading us? What can we expect from Mepho?
I think obviously ukudlala any instrument is you just want to express yourself through playing. If you become a best player, then you become a best person that they can express. When someone is playing, you thinking, we are muzo, you know, what kind of music, which that's the mode, that's the texture, that's the weather, it goes all together. So nami ngiyafisa to express myself without talking.
Yes.
Ngihlale phansi ngidlala ipiano ukuthi hayi ziyashaka man. Umuntu owaziyo uzozwa ukuthi hayi shuthi akhambi kahle. You can, you know, some artists became popular when something really tragic happened to them.
That's
Mhlawumbe
true.
you lost someone you like or you love, and then you can feel ukuthi music washintsha. This expression, you know, you express yourself. So that's why I'm learning to express. Yeah, it's mainly that.
That's beautiful. Sometimes words just don't do enough.
No, you never.
And sometimes you run out of them. And I'm not sure if you run out of words.
No, yazi ngithanda this part kwi-interview yethu ukuthi uyi-parent, ne? But njengomzali wena ezakhe izingane ukwazile ukuthi uziqoqe bese uthi azingene kwi-music. But kunama-parent uthola ukuthi ingane menza into ayikho that support, even ne-friends let's hey wena uhlezi wenza into eyodwa lento eziphumelelisa. Why don't you take lezi zinto lezi ezima-short uzokwazi ukuthi ube right kwi-society? Because usuke Gamalakhe uthola ukuthi Gamalakhe ziningi into ezenzekayo kuningi. But wena njenge-parent yakho ingane ukwazile uziqoqa uzothini kule ngane yamakhelwane ene-same dream njengawe but i-support ayitholi? Kube khona engekho kwela kumakhelwane akhohlama ingane edlalela ko-Ramsgate yo-South Brom kanjalo kanjalo, ungathini kubona?
I have chased ama artist away. It's very important. I think to strike a balance between the two. We need to understand that music today in South Africa, there's no money, there's no transition, there's no support. Government don't even know what music means. You know, they only believe that if you perform with wedding, good enough, get your transition, please go. There's a career. Chase a child back. Humble funda. Understand? You have to do that so that you have support. You have to support yourself. Humble funda, if ukwazi ukufunda uba udokotela, be the doctor who's a musician, so that you can be able to buy your own keyboard,
Exactly.
able to buy your own mic, able to buy, you can't be begging, you know, that's a mistake. We want to, ngoba ngi-artist, I'm different. No, you're not different to the problems we have as a country. So go study, but while you study to be a doctor, you can still take lessons. You can still take private lessons. These things are cheap. We're taking advantage. My lessons they not even cost more than 1,000 a month to do a big instrument like a piano, please, you know. So, my advice to those kids, you know, if a parent kid, you know, when you must be something, be strategic. Invite us, because in the end, my parents, akazi ukuthi music yini.
Yes.
Akaboni uzoyenza kanjani imali wena. All they want to do is when I go and study and come back and work for them. You know, you're not supposed to study and work for your parents, but that's what the system is. So I'm saying, rather push both, because if you can push at the early age and have a prerequisite, it's okay, maybe I have a grade 5, grade 6, or whatever, then that's an varsity entry. Stop, go decide, and finish your degree, whatever. Then you work. Then you can manage to start finding yourself. It's okay. I'm able to go to Durban and watch a setup petrol easy. Man, I'm an artist. They want to do art only.
Yeah.
Where you will transit art only. So you have to have this support element. So I think your question is good, Baba Ngiyabonga. No, mina khona intombazane efikayo encane bona she's 16, she sings. Ngithi no. If abantu bezozwa le voice too early, izoba ne problem. The voice is so matured than yona.
Yeah.
Le voice khona abantu abaduma sebebadala uArenta Franklin ubuzibuza ukuthi wayekuphi ebucane. Yabo? So umthetho hamba uphinde esikoleni ufunde. Mawubuya esikoleni ukunike i-degree ngikaxa studio.
Sure.
That's my point. So then umuntu ke kusamhlukumeza because they know, they learned. Yeah. So we must have both, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's an important growing process that comes with your creative journey. I think my final question, I don't know about Umbo, because my final question is, it says Sakili Studio, there was a dream, you've realized it. There are other dreams that you've realized. You are here now, you're having this conversation. What has been your biggest takeaway? What has been your biggest blessing? I think I caught him off guard.
Hey, my blessing is I know who I am. Yeah, I know.
There was a reason I asked you that question.
I change. You know, it's my culture. Is ukuba mnyama. I went deeper. Yeah, I went deeper. I strongly believe we have so much power. Engathepwanga in purposely. You know, we challenge other things. One day probably you'll sit. I also sit somewhere else where we challenge. If there's none, what's the definition of this? Definition of that to us? Then we can translate that to music. But my blessing really is knowing who I am. And repeat my life, I'll live the same life.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's powerful.
Before you started off with closing, I had one question. Like, I'm always interested in finding out when artists get that in depth with the technical end of music. Doesn't it ruin how you listen to songs? Like sometimes I hear songs, I'm like, okay, the mixing is off, or that kick is off, or nah, they should have did that note instead of that. Does it not ruin the experience for you? How do you switch between being a practitioner and being a consumer? I think that's lighter than Bianca's question.
I don't even listen to music. I mean, because visually with why they must go to the chorus now. They must go now. You know, depends. So it happens. Sometimes we work with people Esbasaba. It's good if when get your producer. Get your producer, because Versa Studio will lock certain levels. You can't go below that. We can't take a chance, because if umuntu says music right when uti studio, but I got produce, you know, because you playing with these levels, so we lock them. So mine, I think, is if when the music, when the nomuntu okulalelayo ukuthi let's cut there, we won't have such issues. Ukuthi la i-artist isuke yazi ukuthi I don't like indlela abangingenise ngayo kwi-chorus, but what can I say? Akunamali studio sabo bayangifanda bayazi benzani badumile now. So I think it is njengalezo ke they hateful nje ukuthi you know, this guy is powerful, but i-genre bamfaka kuyona, it's not his genre. This guy should be singing that genre, something like that. So there's many, other than just the off piano, off Jobush Gute, Gemumfa, Awuyaz Gutai. Now, man, problem, when you listen to music, man, it was a nice vocal list coming through. I'm a piano, I'm getting my poris. Nago. Nago.
It makes me so tired.
I'm going to get a t-shirt. That's my. Very bad.
Oh no, I can't deal. Cela usitshele ama socials akho so that we know where to get a hold of Mepho, just to interact with Mepho. Simbona ukuthi uphila kanjani, ukuphi this week, usebenza nobani, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, noma ikuphi.
I mean, phela ngithi ngisebenza behind the scenes. So nje mawune number yami nje uqedile bese ngikuphi number connecta gayo ngale, yeah, then yeah, so nje it's just my number.
Okay, sicela usho number yakho sayibhala on the screen.
That's if you're comfortable
if
with
you're
that,
fine
but
with it.
you don't
Ngabale
have
ngisho email address ke
That's
rather.
perfect.
Email my address it's tmepho2 as a number @gmail.com. Yeah, then you can email me the stuff. We'll take it from there.
Also, email on my link.
Yeah, well.
Data file host.
Next thing his phone's blowing up. But it's been great. Siyabonga.
Yeah,
Chris, is there anything that you'd like to add? Final thoughts?
We are now available on audio to mention that part. But yeah, now you can check us out on Spotify, Google Podcast, and a bunch of other places that I forgot the names of. Yeah.
Yes,
You
yes,
simply
yes,
just
yes.
go
We are
on
growing.
time.co.za and you'll find a link there. It'll take you places. Yeah.
Definitely check out the audio version of the podcast. It's great to listen to when you're just cleaning or cooking. I do that. I listen to our
Oh
conversations.
yeah, there's actually
Khulisa.
yeah, but do they even need to know that? Like we've got a new series coming up with the SALT candidates starting this weekend. We're gonna be like in a session together, cooking up some things.
Oh yes, we're
Yeah,
having
so
sessions
maybe
this
next week
weekend,
they'll see what that
starting on
is about.
Saturday. Yeah. We'll officially announce it next week, but we're working on something. We're always cooking up something. Most years now. Kuhlale kuphekwa, kuhlale kukhona ismell in the kitchen. Mr. Thulani, siyabonga for coming. Thank you for sharing your passion with us. Mr. Monati, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, no ngimnandi kakhulu. Betoza kakhulu hlala noNgcolosi.
Hey,
Khona
aye.
nje izinto esimntu azithathile ubona
Aye,
ukuthi this is
sixoshile,
powerful.
sifundile.
And nalento ukuthi hayi ngiyazi mina. Hayi ngiyazi amanzi lawo. Kanti unga-add ushukela bese uba right mawugula. Yabo?
Ngiyacabanga.
Ungazi ukuthi ushukela ungafaka emanzini bese uba right.
Uyacabanga.
So ama-thoughts akhe amnandi kakhulu man. Mina socials @In.Tym, Twitter and Instagram, Facebook.
Imag, yeah.
Supposedly.
Before
Also
I
out.
sign out, as you always close the door behind us. So can we get our guests like to say closing remarks if they have anything left to say?
Yeah.
Let's give you that opportunity, Jane, just to back.
Yeah, is there any, do you have any last statements that you,
My bad, my bad.
Yes, I know what I'm doing. 'Cause honest to God. I know what
Guys,
I'm doing.
it's
But do you have
synchronized.
any-
I'm trying to. We're a bit like,
Ingoba abanye bebele-
yeah.
You know. Yeah, any closing thoughts, any final thoughts, Mkhabulo, that you'd like to share with the audience? with
Yeah, I
us?
think my closing remarks would be, hey, we need to go back to who we were. We need to find a space where we go back. We can discuss going back. Just is totally our roots. I know most people would say roots. You know, I can see man abantu they're going back, even living in rural setup. You know, that's going back. Slale mumva. So thola kahle ukuthi soba, because I think we went quickly forward. So my remarks would be that ukuthi umuntu akathi ukuzithola nje kahle emumva ukuthi ubani uzalo ubani kwakwenzakalani. It's a duplicate. You will find someone who was you in your streamline ukuthi no mhlambe ubaba okhokho thizo ukubamba uthi then behavior kanje nje it was there.
Yes.
Artist kakhulu futhi uthi uyacula umuntu because khona wayicula in the family. I've realized a lot ukuthi it runs through the family. So I think let's just go back and find out how they were living babethandani bona. Then we can start defining ourselves going forward. I think that would be my remarks.
Yeah, you said some very important things. You said, I know myself. So the first lesson you gave us was know yourself.
Yeah.
And the second, the last one that you're giving us is go back, reroute, balance. Very beautiful. Because what do you feel about what he just said? Yeah, that's what I'm also sharing us our
No, you know how much I love music, so it was such a great episode. We just talked music throughout and
Ngiyakubona
actually
you
explore and
beaming.
jazz and love and melodies and all that. So yeah, it was such an honor having you on here.
Truly
we
was.
learned a lot, and we're hoping we get to engage further when the studio's open. We'll be there at the launch. First invite. Are we the first to get an invite?
We're going to claim it as the first invite. The invitee was Sobesi Corner. It's really going to be an exciting time. Spring brings great things. Catch out, watch out. Iba on standby, Njengati. Because where can they find you on the socials?
At Diverse everywhere.
Everywhere at KUSS Diverse. Hey, Kustifa. And then me, you can find me at better_BIE main accounts. Otherwise, indeed_BIE alternative accounts. It's been a great time. Don't worry, you can always catch us on our socials at In.Tym. Yonke indawo uyazi nawo bekumnandi mbo.
Yes, siyabonga kakhulu. The rest is history.
Aye, sesiqedile.
Siyabonga.
Sifikile sakhuluma bekumnandi. You already know who it is. Bianca Cele Flatella Hennessy from the most of the coast. It's a wrap.
It feels like I'm on a treadmill. I'm running, but I'm standing still. Always be ready for goodbyes. It could just get real. Tell me something you should never kill. There's something we'll never get enough of. Before you know